More proof that Job was not an Edomite. This is Genesis 10 and 23. It say, and the children of Aram, Uz, and Hul, and Gither, and Misha, and Arpad begot Salah, and Salah begot Eber. So, Uz was one of the sons of Aram. Aram was a Syrian or Ishmaelite, I believe. He was not an Edomite. The Edomites didn't come into existence at this time. Okay, now we go into the book of Job. This is Job 1 and 1. It say there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright and one that feared God. So Job was an obscured evil. So Job was a man in the land of Uz. Now it didn't mention Job's nationality like it mentioned his friend Eliphaz, where companion, not companion, but mutual, somebody that he's affiliated at that time with. Now let's jump down to 3. It says his substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yokes of oxen. It say and 500 sheep as and a very great household, so that his man was so that this man was the greatest of all the men in the east. So Job was a man in the east, but it still ain't get his nationality. It still didn't get Job's nationality. And I'm going to show you that Job was a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Levi. So now this is the book of Joshua 10 and 13. I got to validate the book of Jasher because I'm going to that book next after the scripture. It saying, and the sun stood still and the moon stood until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So I had to use that the Bible scripture to validate the book of Jasher, that it mentions the book of Jasher. That's all I'm going into it. I gotta show you that that Uz was built by the Ishmaelite Syrians. Now we in the book of Jasher. This is Jasher 10 and 34. It say, and the children of Aram also went and built themselves a city, and they called the name of the city Uz after their oldest brother, and they dwelt therein. That is the land of Uz to this day. So Uz was built by the Assyrian Ishmaelites, not the Edomites. So Job, strike one, that Job was not an Edomite. He was more close Assyrian, Hebrew Assyrian, but he wasn't even that. And I'm going to prove that to you right there. Because Job was not the only man in the east as the other people that was in the east. Because the Israelites was in the east too. This is Psalms 107 and 3. And gathered them out of the lands of the east and the west. So the Israelites was in the east. Not just Job or the other Gentile nations. We was amongst the Gentiles because we was scattered in the book of Deuteronomy. This is the book of Numbers 3:38. More proof that shows you the Israelites was in the east amongst those other nations. This is Numbers 3:38. It say, but those that encamp before the tabernacles towards the east, even before the tabernacles of the congregation, eastward shall be Moses and Aaron and his sons, keeping the charge of the sanctuary for the charge of the children of Israel, and the strangers, those other people, the so-called Assyrians and all them other Ishmaelites, the strangers that cometh nigh shall be put to death. So they were in the east, right along with those other people that was there, like the so-called friend of Job, Eliphaz the Temanite. They were there. There was a lot of Gentile people that was in the land of Uz. And the scriptures I use to prove that Job was a Hebrew from the tribe of Levi is Leviticus 5:1-7. You can find this in the part 1 that Job was not an Edomite. And I used the book of Job 42:5-7 that proved that Job was a Levite, because the Lord told Eliphaz and the other friend to take substance to Job and had him to do the sacrifices and the burnt offerings. And at this time, the the Levites was the only people that was doing the sacrifices. No other tribe. So that proves that Job was a Hebrew from the tribe of Levi, according to the Levitical priesthood. He was a priesthood. He just was living in the land of the east, but the children of Israel was living there too, as I proved in the book of Numbers and the book of Psalms.